Hello backyard vegetable gardeners, welcome to the Backyard Vegetable Gardening channel. Today is June the 3rd, 2024, and I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, we're going to talk about what's been going on in my garden. That way you might get an idea of what you should be expecting in your garden as well. Hello everybody, hope you're having a great day. Sure hope you'll forgive me for the audio. We got a lot of traffic here. You're probably used to me saying that by now. It's not a thing in the world I can do about it. I have to make these videos when I can and go ahead and apologize to you. Well, I won't get the cart in front of the horse. Today's video, the good, the bad, the ugly. A lot of good going on right now, a little bit of bad, and a little bit of ugly. Well, standing here in front of our tomatoes this year, pretty happy. I hope you got your tomatoes in. If you watched the video where we planted them, this bed is all our paste type tomatoes. The first 6 are our San Marzanos. The second half are the Romas. You can see the San Marzanos seem to be winning out, a little bit more vigor to them. Hopefully we don't have them spaced too close together right now. It looks like everything's going to work out pretty good. Over here we've got a few style of cherry and grape style tomatoes, and then over here is all of our slicers. Everything looks good. Starting to see some budding, some fruit set, especially on these little guys over here. I think that was the sun golds. The sun golds have already put on at least one cluster of fruit, still green. Be a little bit before they start to ripen, but still. And we're starting to see some of the San Marzanos. So I don't know what kind of weather you've been having in your neck of the woods, but boy, we've been having a lot of rain. It's been making it terribly hard to get stuff done out in the garden, and it's one of the things that a raised bed will give you. It's a lot more forgiving. All this rain came in, the leaves started turning yellow, and where the bed is raised, the drainage is improved, so we was able to come out here a few days later, give them a little bit of nitrogen, and all of those leaves are turning nice and green again. Great thing to see. With all the good that we're seeing with the tomatoes, we have had some bad. Not terrible, was able to get them. We come out here about a week and a half ago, found our first armyworm, managed to get rid of him. Following week, we had an absolute infestation of aphids. Aphids on the tomatoes, aphids on the peppers. So we just skipped the neem oil and the soap deal. We went straight to the Takedown Garden Spray by Monterey. Don't see any more problems with aphids anywhere. Good deal. Now we've had a bunch of rain, so if I see any more signs, I'll be sure to come back and spray. But one of the things I do is I don't have a routine spray schedule. I just don't like it, even if it's an organic spray. I try to extremely limit what kind of pesticides and how much pesticides I use. So now that I know those are gone, we just come out here often enough. We come out here every day and we look. Don't take long. Got to water anyway. Got a little automation this year, but we try to inspect our plants. So the good, the tomatoes are doing really, really good. The bad was we had some aphids and some caterpillars. Well, some armyworms. Got that taken care of, so that's a good thing. Another good thing is we got our broccoli harvested, and I got me a little notepad here, guys. I don't want to make this too long that people don't watch the video, but I want to try to give you an update. And with the broccoli, it was really good. Best year I've ever had growing broccoli. Probably the 3rd year, maybe the 4th year we've tried it. I think the 3rd year. And what we learned this year is it's certainly possible to grow broccoli in my part of North Carolina in the spring, but what we learned was, and this was the bad, we planted them about a month too late. And I knew that when we planted them, but it was one of those deals, it just didn't work out to where I could plant them. The weather was fine, but our plants didn't develop enough when we grew them from seed, and that was my fault. I didn't give them enough fertilizer. I fertilized them, but I didn't give them enough fertilizer. I was trying to be gentle with them so I didn't burn them up, and they didn't develop healthy enough, strong enough for me to transplant them out here in the garden. But we are very happy We got a good harvest of broccoli. My wife was happy especially, and I've got a report for you folks. I've never liked broccoli. All I've ever had is store-bought broccoli, frozen broccoli at the restaurant broccoli. Never enjoyed any of it. And what I come to learn with growing broccoli in our garden is I still don't like it, but I certainly can tolerate it. While we was harvesting, I took me a few of those little heads, the sprouts, and I tried a few, and honestly, still not my cup of tea, but it didn't give me the heebie-jeebies or nothing like that. So I can tell you there's a lot of truth to the improved quality and taste of homegrown vegetables over the store-bought, even what you get in the restaurant. So that'll do it in this part of the garden. We'll go ahead and move the camera, get set up, and we'll go to the large raised bed garden. Over here, before we get into the other raised bed gardens, we can't help but talk about the strawberries and how very well I've been pleased with the design of these trough style planters. And if you missed that video and you're wanting to build you a nice place for your strawberries, or really about any shallow rooted plant, this is a great idea. It's worked out really good. The strawberries are doing really well. These are our quinalts. These are, I think, these are an everbearing. Yep, these are an everbearing variety. Did buy those from a greenhouse. And these are our sure crops. As you can tell, the sure crops are a much more vigorous plant. One of the quinalts just sent out its first runner, so we're going to try to start propagating that. We've already been propagating a bunch of the sure crops, and you can see here is one little container here that we've got with our runners done set roots. What we tried to do was we put these little cups out here with these little landscape stakes, and we just pinned them down so that crown is touching that soil at all times, keeping the soil wet. And we've had pretty good success with the shore crop. Let's see, so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, possibly 9. That ninth one don't look like it's doing well. Up there in the other garden, we've got just some assorted varieties, don't even know what they are. People gave them to me, and we're trying to propagate those. And we're going to build us some more of these trough style planters and get us some more strawberries. And I'm thinking about, I haven't made my mind up on doing maybe a 12 by 12 box here along the side. I don't know that for fact yet, but really happy with the strawberry production, especially in the other garden. We've been getting about a quart, maybe a half a gallon of the little alpine strawberries almost every day. They've been just producing wonderfully. And a lot of people, if you've never tried the alpine strawberries, that's about the only strawberry that I can find in my area that you can grow from seed. We wanted to grow strawberries last year really bad, so I bought some. It took me a little bit to learn how to germinate them. It took me 2 or 3 tries. Finally got about 18 plants, and boy, have those plants just made us happy. They're smaller strawberries. They're not big strawberries like you would find here. And sorry, I've done harvest them. We come out here every morning, especially when the grandbabies are with us, and we just sit out in the garden and eat us some strawberries for a little bit. But the little alpine strawberries are not near as sweet as, say, the quinalts or the sure crops or anything like that, but they have a very wonderful flavor. They're just not as sweet, they're not as big. Takes a whole lot of them, but when you and your grandbaby come out to the garden, it's a great way to spend time. And one of the things we've done while we've been out here, we've tried to start some herbs, and most of these are perennial herbs. We got some Greek oregano here and here. We got us some lemon thyme, and boy, I'm gonna tell you what, that stuff, it just smells lovely, really does. And we've got a type of basil I've never tried before. It's called a a cinnamon basil. And from the smell of it, it smells really good. But that plant is very young. Haven't been able to harvest none off of it yet. But we're finally getting this oregano plant, Greek oregano. It will be ready to harvest soon. The lemon balm's looking good. Haven't had a use for it yet. The catnip is doing good, and this lavender, boy, I learned something this year about lavender. I really enjoy the smell of lavender. I never enjoyed those products that my wife and my girls got. It's just too strong, that's what it is. But I've noticed I can come out here in the garden And boy, I tell you, I just love the smell of that. So what we did is we went out and bought us 2 more from the greenhouse, and here's one of them here. Got plenty of it, and we've got another one on that side of the pergola. And we grew a lot of mint, just experimenting. We grew us some chocolate mint, and that is my favorite. Out of all the mint varieties we have spearmint, peppermint, strawberry mint, pineapple mint, and this chocolate mint. This chocolate mint is just my favorite. I'm not a big fan of that strawberry mint, and I'm certainly not a fan of the pineapple mint. Those 2 varieties, I don't know, I might let them grow as an ornamental, but those got to go. And while we're out here at the pergola, over here we've got a, what is this one? This was a Catawba grape, and we was just expecting it to run up the trellis this year and get it trained. But what we found was a cluster of grapes. And now, if I can get my face down here so it'll look, maybe you can see it too. So really happy about that, unexpected surprise. All we really wanted to do this year was to develop a good plant structure up to the top and start training it over the top. And we've noticed that this Sunbelt variety, which is supposed to be a much sweeter grape, is not near as vigorous as that Catawba grape. We bought them at the same time. That plant was a little bit taller when we bought it, but this plant right here has only grew to about 6 foot off the ground. Not quite, but almost. Whereas that Catawba grape, it's done at almost 9 feet. So we're really happy with what the grapes are doing. And the plan is, in this little area right here, if I could keep the gimbal following me, will it follow me? Yes, it followed me. We're gonna put some glider rockers right here and right there. We've got some string lights up here. Nice little place to come, hopefully. By next year, this will stay shaded so we can come out here and enjoy ourselves with the grandbabies, let them play. But this is one of the examples that I was telling you about a few videos back, having fun in your garden. You can't have everything now. Even if you've got all the money in the world, there's just some things you can't have now. So us working class folks, you know, you just plan ahead, get you an idea like this pergola here. This was going to start out with just 1 unit, and we was going to grow a grapevine over each side of it, and it was supposed to be out in the yard. My son had an idea that we could build 2 of them and then make them, instead of a trellis, into like a pergola. And that's what we did, and we're very happy we did. It's just going to take us another year or maybe 2 before we can start to fully enjoy it. So that's about what's going on out here. Let's move into one of the other garden areas. We've got 2 more areas to go to. I'll stop the video, set up the camera, and we'll be back in a minute. And in this little section of the garden, this was something we did last year, just spur of the moment type deal. These are all those little alpine strawberries, and I don't know how good you can see it on the camera, but if I reach in there, I'll grab one. It's not ripe yet, but I'll show you what you can expect with the alpines. See, nowhere near as big as what you're used to seeing, and this one still had another day or so to ripen, but just wanted to show you an idea. We come out here every morning, and we tried this Dollar Tree planter here, and guys, I'm just going to tell you, you can do it, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. It's too much work. The first 2 tiers, you see how vigorous they are, really good, setting a lot of fruit. And the bottom 3 tiers, it's just a pain to water. It just won't do it again. In fact, when we build those new planters, that's where those are going. Those are going into those trough style planters, not doing that again. So that's the good on the strawberries, and that's the bad on the strawberries. Now, the ugly on the strawberries, man, have we had our challenges with these alpine strawberries. Now, I've done told you we've been getting anywhere from 1 quart to a half gallon every day or so. But what I didn't tell you is what we've had to go through with the slugs. The slugs and the ants, and now as of this morning, the earwigs. I've never had this big a problem with slugs, and to be honest with you, I have to make a confession. I should have dealt with the problem much sooner. I knew I should have, and I just didn't. Between work and everything going on, like today starts what we call the Blue Ridge Baptist Camp meeting. So every evening this week, Monday through Friday, and every evening next week, Monday through Friday, except for Wednesday, we'll be at the Blue Ridge Baptist Camp meeting. And on Wednesday night, we'll be at our church. So won't have a lot of time to work in the garden, and I needed to make a video. And when we get up in the other garden, I'll explain to you why we haven't had a video here lately. But lots and lots of slugs, and the simple solution is to make a yeast trap. Now you can search the internet, you're going to find beer traps. I'm a Christian. I don't have nothing to do with alcohol. 26 years ago I was homeless, living in a tent, strung out on dope and alcohol and everything you could think of. I don't fool with that stuff, and I thank God for delivering me from it. But what you can do is get dry active yeast, those little packets that you find in the baking aisle, and put a little bit of bread, white flour or some cornmeal, and you just mix that stuff up with a little bit of water, makes like a little slurry. Put it in a Tupperware container, a Cool Whip container, cut you 4 slits around the side, about 1 inch high or so, bury that thing in the ground, put the lid, and those slugs will smell that stuff, they'll come to it, and it works great, it'll kill them. So that was the good, the bad, and the ugly with the strawberries. And now we've got this little bitty herb garden here, mostly basil, and you can see it's starting to bolt. If I get down here where the camera is, it's starting to bolt, and that's okay. Got some chamomile, and again, it's starting to flower too. But back here, our prized crop looks pretty puny. This deal, and as you can see, this and he's been nibbled off. In fact, I had to replant 3 of these yesterday, and I think a squirrel dug it up. I initially thought it was rabbits, but we fertilized last Friday, and we used some Alaskan fish fertilizer. And we always try to advise you about the stuff that we use and how it works and what you watch out for. And one of the things you have to watch out for is that it will attract critters because it smells like dead fish. I had no idea that that attracted squirrels. Well, both times that I have fertilized these plants with that product, something has come through here and either nibbled them off or dug them up. And I'm positive that it was the squirrels. I don't have any video evidence of it, but I'm positive it's what it is. So this is one that we kept back from when we started them from seed, and this is one, but you can't really see those two, but you can tell this one's way high, looks pretty scrawny. That's because it's been grown in a little bitty old cup. These plants should be about this high and about 12 inches around by this time of the year, but they haven't got there. And if you've never grew dill, even if you're not making dill pickles, dill is a wonderful addition to any salad. Just, my wife put it in there last year, absolutely blew me away. It made the salad that much better. So the good, everything's looking good, it's alive. The bad, the Alaskan fish fertilizer draws the pests, the critters in this particular instance. And the ugly, well, you can see the ugly. Thank the Lord, he's coming back up, and before too long we'll be able to harvest this some more dill. But the real centerpiece of this section of the garden is our sugar snap peas. And I'll go ahead and harvest one because I know the camera's not going to turn, but these sugar snap peas, just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm rather full at the moment. I just ate a big lunch. I'm not going to even sample that. We come out here this morning and we got a little over a quart-sized bag of the sugar snaps, and back here we've got our snow peas. And let me find a good one in case you don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I've got any that are ready. Most of the time it takes every other day. Oh, found something nibbling on here, but this will be good enough to show you. So if you look, on my left where my watch is, you can see this is a nice plump one, and the camera's going nuts. And then this one is a snow pea. And if you can tell the bumps in it, see if I can hold it for you. And they taste very similar, but I prefer the snow peas when they're a little bit more plump, when the peas are a little more pronounced. They have a much better flavor than these. At least that's my preference. But I started growing these for my wife, and they did good. They won't last much longer, maybe 3 weeks to a month. Then the heat will finally be too much for them, and all these will die back. Might plant some beans there. I promised my wife I wouldn't grow no more of the Blue Lakes because we still got 80-some quarts from last year. But we do got this celery, and boy, that is, other than sweet corn, celery is one of my very favorite things to grow in the garden. I look forward to harvesting it every year. Last year, my wife did me kind of dirty. Now, she didn't mean to, folks, so don't be too hard on her if you see her. But I grew a little 3x6 bed full of celery every 12 inches. It was packed full of celery, big old bundles, and man, the plants were just great. And I waited and waited and waited, and finally it was ready to harvest. So I harvested it all that same day, and before I could even get one stalk, she had had that all processed and froze. And guys, I was terribly disheartened, very, very sad. But thank the Lord for a wife who's willing to help, because as much time as I spend out here in the garden, man alive, it'd be near impossible for me to do all the processing. So I'm gonna get down here. Hopefully the camera will get you a good view here. But we've probably got 10 or 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 or 12 celery plants here, all looking good. And celery is one of those plants, guys. Both of these are very low maintenance. The peas are very low maintenance. If you grow them in the early spring in my area, you don't have to worry about the powdery mildew or none of that stuff. And the celery, as long as you keep it watered good, got you a good fertilizer, pre-plant fertilizer in the ground. Every now and again, give it a shot of nitrogen, and it does really, really good. If you like if you like celery, I highly recommend you growing your own celery. You just can't believe the difference in the flavor. Now, I'm gonna walk around here. Hopefully the gimbal will follow us. We'll stay in this garden for a minute. Potatoes are looking good. Very, very happy with that. As you can tell, I'm standing in the bottom of the furrow where we've hilled them, and it's almost hip high. So they're doing really, really good. The bad is that we've had a lot of rain, and I don't know how that's gonna affect my potatoes. I hope it don't rot them. Hopefully it won't, but we have had a lot of rain, and we've had so much rain that you can see a lot of these plants are falling over. And the reason they're falling over is because we had such rain that it washed my hills out dramatically. So as soon as it gets dry enough, and it's just now dry enough I can walk on it, I shouldn't be messing with none of the soil, but we got to come back here and hill them. Just what we do, folks. And this little section right here, I wish I could say there was something good. Every time we get it prepared, this is where we're going to plant our corn. It's about 25 by 40, so we're probably going to do somewhere about 20. Well, yeah, we're probably going to do about 15 feet, because now I'm looking at the fence post, it's like 20 feet by 40 feet. So we're going to do probably about 15 feet by 30 feet of corn. I don't know what that'll give me. I haven't done the math, but every time we get this bed prepared and weeded, it comes a rain. And as you can see, the weeds are already starting to pop up again. There's not a whole lot I can do about it, really. Sorry for the sirens, folks. We live in the city, something we deal with all the time. People are just getting crazy, man. I tell you, they ain't got no sense. So what we was hoping to do was have this stuff planted last Monday. And due to the rain, we was hoping to plant it today. Well, because we had rain again last night, I'm not gonna be able to get in here and do that. because I still got to get these weeds out, and I like to give it a day or so of the sun to work on these weeds. Don't like to keep tilling the soil, but that does look like what we're probably going to have to do. So that'll do it in this in-ground garden. We'll stop filming, we'll go move the camera, and we'll get into the main raised bed garden. Well, we're in the main garden where I spend most of the time at, and I don't know how much you're going to see, guys. I'm out here by myself today, but we have a nice little assortment of calendula and nasturtiums that I've been meaning to put in the ground. They're in large enough pots, they'll be okay. But as you can tell from this calendula to this calendula, that was a volunteer that sprouted in the onion bed. That plant has a lot more vigor than this plant does, even though this plant is technically two or 3 weeks more mature. Excuse me. So we desperately need to find a place to put all of these plants. We like to use them as pollinators, but we also like to use them for the trap crops. The calendulas especially are good for the aphids. We got some marigolds set out down there. We're going to plant them out. And the nasturtiums, boy, they are really great when it comes to those leaf miners. Really, really great. I found one of the leaves the other day, and I was trying to show my grandson. I can't remember which one of these plants had the leaf miner damage, but they've already started attacking it. And while we're on that subject of trap crops, this was supposed to be a calendula right here. As you can tell, it's not. Maybe in post I'll try to zoom in, but from what the plant app says, it's called a horseweed. I thought it was a different variety of calendula because one of the packs that we used was a variety pack. Well, there is no flowers on that thing, but I'm going to tell you why I've left it in that container. That horseweed is how I discovered the aphid infestation. I come over here to this plant. Well, guys, we're not having a good day out here. The camera keeps overheating. Started the camera over, let it cool down, started it over, forgot to hit record. So I'm going to try to pick back up where I left off. Hopefully it'll make sense when I get to editing it, but our nice little calendulas and nasturtiums, they need to be getting in the ground sometime soon. We plant these as a trap crop. Aphids, leaf miners, things like that. The calendulas we also use, my wife makes a salve for your skin. It's made out of calendula, lavender, and beeswax. It's a really good salve for any skin irritation. Got to get them out, but you can tell these plants in the containers, while they're still doing very well, that one right there, I should have deadheaded before I made this video, but if you compare any of these to this volunteer calendula from last year, there's no comparing. If those were in the ground, they'd all look like this right here. But we was getting on to the subject of one of my most depressing things. So we're gonna go around here, and I already tell you the gimbal's gonna quit following me because my shirt is not contrasted enough with all this foliage when I get down there. But the reason we didn't have a video last week, guys, is because I had a terrible audio problem. I wore this little microphone and I had it too close to my mouth, and the audio was just absolutely atrocious. Nothing I can do to fix it. I tried. I couldn't even chop it up into shorts. There was so much distortion. So we made a video where we took down the hoop structure, freshened up the beds, added a nice layer of new compost, some pre-plant organic fertilizer, and we planted all these wonderful peppers. And I don't have any of that footage to show you. I guess I could roll in some B-roll maybe, but we have got some nice pimentos here. We got 3 varieties of pimentos. That's a regular pimento, that's a pimento elite, and then somewhere or another we have what's called a pimento hybrid. I think that's the 3rd from down here. I think it's the same thing as a pimento elite, but the whole deal was I was watching one of Gardening with Leon's videos. Leon was talking about growing a pimento that you'd really enjoy it, real sweet pepper. So I'm gonna put the pimentos up with the lemon dreams and the tangerine dreams, which are my favorite sweet peppers there are. If you've never grew any of those and you like sweet peppers, those are just wonderful, wonderful peppers. They don't get very tall. They only get about 12 to 18 inches tall. They don't produce a lot of fruit, so if you find that you like them, you might want to grow some. This year we're growing 4 of each. And we've got some Cornita rosas. We've got some sweet red cherry, which are, don't let the name fool you, they actually have heat behind them. They start out sweet, and then they have about as much kick as a good jalapeno. We've got some sun gold bell peppers, got some California Wonder bell peppers. I think I mentioned the Cornita rosas. We got some sweet banana peppers, and so far so good. I can't show you. I'm gonna walk the long way so this camera will follow me. See if I can show you the fruit set on some of these guys. I'll get down here. Would you look at that? Doing pretty good, pretty good. I think that's one of the pimento hybrids. So there's a lot of vigor to that. And there's another one right there, plenty good for such a little plant, doing really good. I know a lot of people would have cut that pepper off, but I can already tell you this one, he's going to be staked up. He's done falling over. In fact, while I'm in here, I might grab me a piece of this rebar until I can go get me a stake. So let me go around and get one while I'm thinking about it. And that's just one of the things you have to deal with your peppers. Most of the time we wait a little while, and we've got these really nice fiberglass poles that we use, various heights, and probably should just put him just like that. Try not to damage the roots too awful bad. And what I'll do is I'll just prop it there. I've got a piece of this garden tape that I found laying on the ground, but I'll come back later and put a nice fiberglass rod there and tie it up. But so good with the peppers, they're all doing really, really good. Managed to get rid of all of the pests on them. They're growing just like they should, starting to set fruit. The bad, well, the audio in the last video was terrible. And the squirrels, Lord of mercy, the squirrels have been at my nice little bitty tangerine dreams and lemon dreams. Them 4 on the front there, boy, they've already tried digging them up at least once. So far so good with that though. And if we can go back around here, you see the carrots are doing really good. Got about another 30 days on these carrots, about another 30 days on those potatoes. Planted the carrots and the potatoes about the same time, somewhere about January, February, March, April, May, somewhere through there. So hopefully about 30, 45 more days, we should start getting some harvest in. I've already started getting a few of the baby carrots. They're not worth harvesting yet. We tried, but now I'm gonna try to get back to where we were before the camera cut off on me. My most disappointing moment yet. So stick around and we'll move the camera, we'll be right back. All right guys, hopefully I'm where the camera can see me good, and this is really disappointing. If you look over here in these beds, crouch down a little bit, all these beds were just beautiful, full of garlic. German white, actually German red, German white, and as you can tell, they don't look so hot. No, they're not ready to harvest. What had happened was I over-fertilized them. I took some bad advice. First time I've ever grew this much garlic. Every time in the past we wanted to grow garlic, I just got like a little 5-gallon bucket or some large container, 24 inches, and just threw the cloves in there and just left them there. Always had little bitty bulbs. So what we wanted was to grow some big garlic, and somehow, some way, I burned them up, every one of them. And I did harvest some the other week. We've got some over there that are bigger. I've done checked, but as you can tell, it's not really what we was hoping to have. But that's what we got. I burned it all up. And same thing with most of my onions. The green onions up front there, they're still doing good. Those are very young. We just put them out there not long ago at all. But these onions here, some of them are starting to recover, but I don't have much of a hope. Like right here, we can see a bulb forming pretty good, and here's a bulb, and there's a bulb. So, but we should have had a lot more than that. But that's the way it is, guys. That's the ugly part of gardening. we don't always know what we're doing. And sometimes we take the wrong advice. And I'll tell you exactly what I did to the onions. So we bought some bundles of onions, not the sets, but the bundles, and we planted some in the garden. And we was fertilizing them with a liquid fertilizer, 20-20-20, and everything was doing great. And then I was reading on a channel and went to the web. I was watching a YouTube channel that I regularly follow, and always get good advice there. But went to the website and was reading, and everything that they said made sense, lined up with the video. So we put some calcium nitrate, sprinkled it on the ground, and let me just tell you, about 3 days, it looked like I had took a flamethrower to these guys. They were pitiful. So I thought maybe I didn't water them enough, so I started watering them, and that didn't seem to take any effect. So after the end of the week there, we watered them again, gave them a few more days, so about a week and a half passed, and they all started looking very bad, and that's when I knew I had to have burned them up. Really regret that. Hopefully we'll do better next year. But you can see this guy, he's already starting to go to flower. This guy has already started, we've cut it off. So matter of fact, while I'm out here, I'll go ahead and do it. Get my handy dandy little Gerber pocket knife here that's got a set of scissors with it. And I'll just reach down there and I'll cut that guy off and he'll be good to go. But either way, guys, that's the ugly part of gardening. The part I was dreading adding in this video. But guys, I'm not embarrassed about it, I'm not ashamed about it, and I'm not gonna hide it, because I remember when I started growing a garden, I didn't have any help. We bought a few good books. Sorry for the road noise, guys, but there's a bank not too far from me, and apparently somebody's got a very loud truck. But we started gardening, we didn't have a lot of experience, didn't have a lot of resources to lean on, and we started growing a garden, reading books, and trial and error. And it doesn't matter how long you've been gardening, a backyard gardener is going to experiment. They're going to try to grow new things. Somebody's going to give them a different idea, and it's either going to be a success or it's not. And you can't let that get you down. Now, when it comes to our main crop, our corn, our potatoes, carrots, things like that, our lettuces, radishes, peas, all those right there, I get a little upset if something goes wrong with them, because you really depend on them. Those rows of potatoes out there, hopefully we'll get 300, maybe 350 pounds of potatoes, so that does us good. We eat about 5 or 10 pounds of potatoes every week, so that's a good cost savings to us. And same with the corn. Now, we don't have the space to grow a lot of corn, but we like to grow at least a couple hundred ears, and that generally does us good. With the green beans, we do 2 25-foot double rows. We let them get up about 6-7 foot high, and sometimes we even let them cross over the top of each other. And that produces about 100 quarts of green beans. Those crops I would be upset with, but first year of growing this many onions and that much garlic, I am a little disappointed, but it's nothing that you can't just get over real quick. So we're gonna let these grow for another month or so. Then I'm gonna clean up this side of the bed, clean up those beds right there. Don't know what we're gonna put in them yet. We'll put something in them. But guys, like I said, I want you to know that when you're starting to learn to grow your own food, you can't let everything get you down. I've got maybe $30 in garlic that's probably wasted, and I've got about $10 or maybe $15 in onions, but I've got a lot of time. And that's the deal with any of these vegetables like garlic and onion. I have to plant them in the fall and then let them overwinter. Well, with the onions, we start them many weeks indoors, and this year I tried that cocoa core starting my onion seeds. I will never do that again. I will never do that again. So we went out and bought those starters, not the sets, but the bundles of onions, and was hoping to get some onions. So when we already failed growing those from seed, I knew I only had one other option, and so we tried another option. And so 2 failures for the same crop in the same season, but you can't let it get you down, folks. So I hope that where you're at, you're having a great day. It's starting to rain on me here. Little garden tour. Not going to have time to go to the blueberries or nothing like that because of the rain, but I'll go ahead and let you know. Our blueberries, we bought them from a farm here local, and the farm was in between owners. It got a new owner because the previous owner, the husband, who was an older gentleman, he passed away, and the wife didn't know how to run the farm, so she sold it to somebody in another state who is still active in a career, and it was either this year or next year that person is supposed to move up here and take over running the farm. And the people that's keeping the farm going right now really aren't that experienced doing it. So when we bought those blueberry bushes, they weren't in the best shape, and I did not know that. They're still alive and healthy, but I should have pruned them a lot better than I did, because they didn't send up any new shoots over the winter time. And we've got plenty of blueberries for what we've got out there, but it's nothing like I'd hope. And if you know anything about growing, raising blueberries, it can take 7 years before your bush is producing like you want it to, and that's fine. The whole deal with our berries and citrus and all that stuff is for, we are going to eat it, but the main deal really is to keep the grandbabies happy, keep them interested in gardening, and maybe, just maybe, that they'll grow up with the idea that they don't always have to go to the grocery store to buy all their food, that they're more than capable of growing their own food right in their own backyard, and that's the purpose of this channel. So guys, that'll do it for this one. I sure thank you for joining me. If you found it enjoyable, or if you learned something, I sure hope you'll hit that like button, guys. It really helps us out. Tells YouTube that you found value in the content. If you like gardening, garden related content, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to that channel. We're trying to hit that 500 mark. We're kind of getting there, 450 something like that. So if you would do us a big favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you know anybody who likes gardening or is into this type of thing, please share it with them on social media, guys. It really helps us out, encourages me to keep going, because I'll be honest with you, work a full-time job, I'm active in my church, and we're all the time busy, so every little bit helps. Sometimes I don't feel like making a video, guys, but if you'll do that for me, I greatly appreciate it. And until we see you on the next one, I hope you're having a great day.